Hello, everyone. This is Antoine here from Cyberimpact, and I'm here to talk to you today about how we compete with industry giants. So welcome to this CFIB webinar. I'm really excited to be here and to share this piece of content, this piece of knowledge, and maybe spark some ideas for your own business. Obviously, that's the goal. So Cyberimpact is a partner with the CFIB, and we're also a member because we're a small business. We're an independent small business based just outside of Montreal. We're in the suburbs, Terrebonne, for those who know a little bit about the greater Montreal region. And yeah, we're a small independent business, and we're in the technology field. We're an email marketing platform that a lot of CFIB members use, and the CFIB itself also uses for our promotional emails, such as emails that led you to register for this webinar. Being in the technology field, we have to compete with big companies. Most of our competitors are from the US or even from Europe, and they're much bigger companies than we are. I like to sometimes joke, but it's not even a joke, it's true. Our biggest competitor is probably MailChimp. MailChimp is a big company that's in the US, and sometimes I like to say that their marketing department is probably bigger than our whole company, and that's probably true. So how do we still are able to have sustainable growth, to be a profitable business, to have growth, every year, and to support all of our employees? We're about 20 employees, so we're a very small business, but how a small business can compete and can be profitable in a world that is dominated by industry giants. So I'm going to talk a lot about us today. It's our story, how we did things, how we're doing things now, and how we see the future. But the goal is not to make a pitch. The goal is not to sell you on Cyberimpact, but the goal is to make you maybe think about your own situation, your own industry, your own field, and your own challenges when competing with bigger companies, basically, that are mostly out of Canada. So if it sparks one or two ideas, one or two things that you'd like to test out in your own company, well, I think it will be, today's webinar will be a success. So like I said, Cyberimpact is a Canadian small business. We're in the tech industry, and we compete with tech giants from the States and also from Europe. So let's learn what we did. This is a part of the team, okay? So we're about 20, like I said. This is you see our office there. And one of the reasons why you don't see all the 20 of us is that at any given time, there's probably half of us, up to a third of us, a third to a half of us that work from home remotely. So we're going to talk about that also. It's important to keep your employees, and maybe you need to be flexible when you're a smaller company. But that's us saying hi to you. All right, and also I wanted to say that whenever you have questions, you can ask questions in the chat box that you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen. So I will really appreciate at the end of the presentation, I'll probably go to about 1:45, 1:50 p.m. Maximum. So like in maybe 45 minutes, I'll be done talking. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have or any comments. And I'd like to also know in what industry you are and what are your challenges, and what kind of big competitors you have, and how what I'm going to talk about today can apply to your specific situation. So it will be awesome if it can be an opportunity also to share amongst us. So all of that, sharing and comments and questions, I'll get to them at the end, but feel free to type them in the chat box on the right-hand side. And also, I forgot to mention that, sorry, there's a PowerPoint presentation that you can download also somewhere on the right-hand side of your screen. All right, the first thing I want to talk to you about is turning an obstacle into an opportunity. So that's kind of how our journey into competing with bigger companies started at Cyberimpact. So the arrival of Castle. Castle is Canada's anti-spam law in 2014, kind of shook the world of marketing and business. It shook the world of marketing in Canada. Some people, you're probably familiar a little bit with Canada's anti-spam law. If you're not sure, you can type questions and I'll be happy to answer them at the end of this webinar. But Canada's anti-spam law, it could be seen as an obstacle to email marketing in Canada. At first, a lot of people thought it would mean the end of email marketing in Canada. So basically predicting that it would be a big break and that small businesses in the country would be afraid of the law and would stop using email marketing. So that's not what happened at all. We saw that we see today that email marketing is still very alive and well and really relevant and important for businesses of all sizes in Canada. But Castle is certainly there in the background, kind of looming. Instead of seeing it as a break to email marketing, we saw it as an opportunity to tailor our software, our solution, specifically to the Canadian market. All of a sudden, the Canadian market became a market on its own that had particular needs because now the rules are different than in Europe or in the US. So, you know, Canadian organizations and Canadian small businesses may seek for a solution that is tailored to Canada's anti-spam law, and that makes it easy for them to comply with this legislation. So after the first shock, we saw that Castle would be an opportunity, or we thought maybe it could be an opportunity. So that's what we did, and we decided to add features and to alter and modify our solution, our software, to cater specifically to the Canadian market and to Canada's anti-spam law in particular. So that's kind of my first advice to you. When you're small and the market has big players, the thing is that industry giants, they tend to cast a wider net. They serve a wide clientele in terms of segments or in terms of geography. And as a smaller company, you can't compete with them on all fronts. You gotta choose your battles, basically. You have to choose a much smaller target segment for whom you can do things that the big guys can't. So for us, it was narrowing down on the Canadian market. We decided that Canada was going to be our market. So we made features that only make sense to Canadian users. For our competitors, the MailChimp, the Constant Contact, the Sendinblue, that are based mostly in the US and also in France and other European countries, Canada is a very little portion of their client base. So it really doesn't make sense for them to develop features that would be only useful to Canadian users. So we're able to serve our chosen customers in ways that can't easily be matched by the big guys. And that would be my second advice. Once you decided on a smaller piece of the pie, you decided that you would be the solution for a niche in your bigger market, then you need to find ways that you can serve this smaller customer segment in ways that the big guys won't. And we do that in many ways, and I encourage you to think about how you can do that also in your own business. You want to become the solution that is the best solution for a small market instead of being like a generalist for a bigger market, and then you're just being crushed by bigger companies that are more well-known, that have more brand recognition, that have a much deeper pockets when it comes to innovations and advertisement and all of that. So you want to specialize and niche down. That's certainly what we've been doing, and I think it's a key, one of the keys, or basically the number one key of our success right now. So just to give you examples, some of the features that we have that our bigger American competitors don't have. First, like I said, Castle. So we have many features that make it easier for small business owners and marketing directors in Canada to comply with Canada's anti-spam law. Like I said, Canada is 100% of our market. When it comes down to maybe MailChimp, maybe Canada is 5% of their market share. So it doesn't really make sense for them to have really specific features that only appeal to Canadian users. But for us, it makes a lot of sense. The niche that you decide on needs to be too small for your competitors, but big enough for you to be profitable and to have growth. We're a small company, like I said. We could quadruple in size, and Canada would still be big enough for us to grow. Basically, there's enough small businesses and organizations and government agencies and all that need email marketing for us to make a lot of money. So what seems like a small market for a big industry giant is a big enough market for a small company like us. So there's a balance to find there. The other thing, we're fully bilingual. This makes sense for people in Canada. You can have content, you can have webinars, you can have tutorials in both French and English. You can use the platform in both French and English, and that's it. So it doesn't really make sense to have French and English for an American company, but it does for a Canadian company, especially for us in Quebec. So at the same time, when you think about how you're going to niche down, find the things that come easy for you, maybe the things that you already do well, just by default, and think who it can be applied to. So for us, we're in Quebec. Of course, we speak French, but being bilingual becomes a big advantage. We also have Canadian servers. So a lot more and more organizations and companies, especially in Canada, want to make sure that their contacts, their members or their customers' information is safe in Canada. They don't want that information to be shared on US servers or abroad, who knows where. They want to make sure that all of that is safe, because we've all heard of big data leaks on Facebook or with Equifax and all that. So people are wary, people are afraid. So personal data, personal privacy is more and more of an issue. But for us, of course, we want to have servers that are close by. We have our servers in Terrebonne or remotely, quote unquote, in Montreal, which is really close for us. So out of convenience, we have Canadian servers. But because we chose our niche wisely, this becomes a big advantage for us and a selling point and a feature. And a lot of people are switching to Cyberimpact just because the data is hosted in Montreal, in Canada. The other thing, we also bill our customers in Canadian dollars, which for Canadian companies is a big plus, because they probably save 25 to 30% when compared to companies who have their pricing or their billing in American dollars. When you narrow down, sorry about that. When you narrow down your positioning, you can then narrow down your marketing. And that's really important. I'm a marketing guy, so I'm going to be talking a lot about marketing and online marketing. But it's really important. When you have a clear, identified niche, you can have a marketing or a branding message that matches that niche 100%, and that's really strong and really simple. So to give you an example, once again, I'm just giving you examples of what we're doing. Try to find ways that you can apply it in your own business. But our main positioning is email marketing made easier for small businesses in Canada. So it's really clear. You land on our website, within 3 seconds, you can know exactly what we're about, and you can know exactly who's our ideal customer. And if you are a small business in Canada that is looking for an email marketing solution, that really speaks to you. So basically, we're willing to drive away people who don't fit our niche, so that we can be really relevant to the people who do. So that's the trade-off that I encourage you to do also. You know, when you're in marketing, or when you're in sales, or if you're in business for yourself, it's kind of hard to say no. You know, your first instinct is to try to get everyone as a customer. But I think in the long run, you're going to gain more by saying no to the people who you can't really serve better than other companies, in order to attract the people that you can serve better than your competitors. And we also, you know, right away have this little castle sign and create castle compliant emails in just a few clicks. So obviously, again, that only makes sense if you're in Canada. All right. For me, this is a very interesting topic. When you focus on a more specific market, it allows you to narrow down your search engine optimization. So SEO stands for search engine optimization, and that's basically everything you can do on your website and with your content marketing and all that in order to be on the first page of Google when someone types in a keyword, searches for a phrase that is relevant to you, that is good for you. So if I were to try to rank on the first page of Google for the term email marketing platform, it would be very hard, it would be long, and it would be expensive. It would take a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of resources. And even if we did, it would attract a lot of non-targeted prospects. It would mean, you know, we would have businesses from all over the world, because the search term is too broad. It's just email marketing platform. It's not specific enough. So it's hard to rank, and it also attracts traffic that is not targeted. They're not good prospects for us. Instead, if we try to optimize for more specific terms like Canadian email marketing platform, it works really well, and we occupy lots of space on the first page of Google results. A more specific term like Canadian email marketing platform is a lot less competitive. It's a lot easier to rank for that term. Obviously, it doesn't get you, it doesn't get us as much traffic, but the traffic that we do get are probably our ideal prospective customers. Someone that types email marketing platform, Canadian email marketing platform in Google is basically looking for us, and we have a solution for them. So let's see how it works. I hope that you can see. But if I type in Google Canadian email marketing platform, the first 4 results are ads. Sometimes we do buy ads on Google. But if it's too expensive for us and it doesn't return a good ROI, we're there in the organic results. So the real quote unquote results just below the ads. So Canadian email marketing platform, we have a blog article, an article that's been published on our website that is called Cyberimpact, a Canadian alternative to MailChimp. And there's a good abstract of the article right in Google. So if you're doing email marketing in Canada, there are so many reasons to choose Cyberimpact over MailChimp and blah blah blah. You see that there's a lot. So I'm super grateful to Google, but I also tap myself on the back, because that means that we produce good content that Google thinks is relevant to that search term, and our website is recognized as an authority for that specific search term. This is just an example. Obviously, we rank for a lot of other long tail keywords that we talk about. If you were to scroll just a little bit, you would see that we occupy 2 other spots on the first page of Google. So our homepage and also another article on our website. So if you're a small business in Canada and you Google that term, it's hard to miss Cyberimpact. Okay, at least you'll be aware that we exist. So think of what could be your niche and what kind of non-competitive long tail keyword or search phrase that you would like to rank for. I'll give you another example in our industry, because it doesn't have to always be about a country or a certain region. Sometimes your niche, you can serve anywhere, anyone, anywhere in the world, but you'll have to specialize in other ways. We have a competitor who is another small business that is in our field, and they specialize in email marketing for e-commerce stores. So if you go on their website, it says the email marketing solution for small e-commerce stores. And then they're very good at integrating with Shopify and WooCommerce and stuff like that. So it has nothing to do with a country. It has to do with a certain type of business. So that works too. All right. So basically to wrap this up, my next suggestion is to focus your energy on longer, more targeted search phrases when we're talking about search engine optimization. All right. SEO, search engine optimization, is closely related to content marketing. Content marketing means creating content. It can be videos, it can be ebooks, online courses, stuff like that. But most of the time, the thing that works the best to rank in Google, we're talking about articles. So as much as possible, I would encourage any small business that wants to really, sorry, I have something in my throat. Any business that wants to compete with bigger companies, they need to have a very targeted content marketing strategy. So basically that means having an active blog and constantly publishing good articles, and then you share those articles maybe in the newsletter, you share those articles on social media and stuff like that. Very simple stuff, nothing fancy, but it's about writing, publishing, and making sure that you're strategic in the topics that you cover and the titles that you use as well, because you do want to answer questions that people have. You do want to use the keywords that you want to rank for, but in a natural way. So I'll give you a few examples. This is a long article that we published, and it's titled "The Canadian Retailer's Guide to Email Marketing." So let's say someone from Canada searches in Google email marketing for retailers. There's a good chance that they're going to find this article, and it's going to give them a lot of tips and tricks. And also there will be on Cyberimpact's website, so then they can, create a free account and start using our solution. But this is a very good example. This is relevant to my niche, my best customers, and it's relevant to them also. Yeah, that's it. Let's go to the next example. Another example of an article that we published: why you shouldn't use a foreign solution to send emails in Canada. So just maybe give people arguments or reasons why they should use us instead of our big competitors. And this is also something that you can do in your own company, in your own marketing, in your own business. Reasons why your prospective customers should use you instead of your big competitors. It's a good exercise. It's good for them to know, but it's a good exercise for you also to do. You should be able to come up with a list of reasons why your customers should choose you instead of them. All right, so when you select a niche, you will be able to have use more precise targeting options for your ad campaigns. This is also something that I really strongly suggest you do and look into. This example is from Facebook. So maybe you're familiar with the Facebook Ad Manager. So basically you can create ads for your business that are going to send people maybe on your website or a landing page or something like that. This is directly on Facebook. It's really not expensive. There's not really a minimum, so that's a good way for small businesses to advertise when you use the targeting options as much as possible. Because a lot of small businesses will kind of go the easy route when it comes to Facebook ads, and they will just like boost a post, but this is very generic. It will boost the post to like basically anybody, maybe in Canada or something like that. So it's not precise enough. Once you have a positioning and you're targeting a certain clientele, you can match that positioning in your advertising options. So in Facebook, I created this audience as an example. It's called Canadian Small Business Owners. You see that the country is Canada. The language is English. In this case, it will be an English campaign. So make sure to have an English ad and English landing page and content and all that. But look at that below. We have an option to target what Facebook thinks are small business owners. So on Facebook, it's very simple, but basically I'm targeting Canadian small business owners that speak English in that case. And that leaves me with a potential reach of 9,700 people. You want to be as precise as possible when you're creating ads like that. Sometimes we have, maybe it can seem a bit counterintuitive because we're like, no, I want to be seen by as many people as possible. So you think that the potential reach should be as high as possible. That's not the case in my experience. If you just target everyone in Canada, yes, you'll have a potential reach of 1 million of people, but most of these people don't give a beep about what you're offering. So you want to have a message, an offer, and a landing page that is really relevant to your targeted audience. Another very good way to grow, to accelerate your growth, to accelerate your customer acquisition, especially when you identified a clear niche, is to have partnerships to help you reach your defined target audience. So when you have a defined target audience, you can ask yourself, what organization, what association, what chamber of commerce, whatever it is, what group of people who are basically the same audience that I identified, what group already exists that I can maybe try to have a partnership with them to talk to these members and basically reach an audience that is similar to your own audience. So for us, a good example of a successful partnership is with the CFIB, Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses. So basically small business owners in Canada. That's great for us. The match is 100%, and it's been going well. So yeah, what's your CFID in your business? What's the group that you can partner with? And you can have many partnerships. That's really a good way. In our case, it's certainly not relevant for a MailChimp or a Constant Contact or a Sendinblue, our big competitors, to have a partnership with the CFIB. It's too small and it's specific to our niche. It's specific to Canada. But for Cyberimpact, it makes a lot of sense. All right, my next topic, it will seem obvious, but I really, really encourage you to offer outstanding customer service. Okay, so you cannot compete with industry giants on advertising budget. You cannot compete with them on innovation, R&D. You cannot compete with them on branding or brand recognition. But what you can compete with them on and what you can beat them is with customer service. So I would strongly encourage you to try to hire the best people you can at these positions. At the end of the day, your customer and your prospect, they're humans and they're going to come in contact with other humans. So basically, try to hire the best quality of humans that you can have. People who are going to make a big difference, are going to be passionate about making a difference in your customers' lives. Empathetic people, people who really want to help. So that's the kind of people we try to hire at the very important job of customer service or technical support. These people are on the phone, on emails, on live chat, and if you look at our reviews, almost all of our reviews talk about the fact that we have an incredible customer service. And I know for a fact that we have much better customer service than our big US competitors. We're smaller, so maybe we have a more human feel, a more small business feel to it. People really feel like they're talking to one person, and it's true, they are, and it can't always be the same person. Like it'll be the same person the next day if they want to continue the discussion. So that makes a big difference. So monitor customer service, hire the best people as possible, invest in customer service, and have many ways that people can reach out to you, and be quick in your responses. All of these things make a big difference. Basically, the point that I'm making is that on the human side of things, you can do better than your big competitors. And this slide, I forgot to change it, but it should say hire the best local talent that you can find. So again, it's the human side of things. As an employer, you need to make sure that you invest in HR and that you hire the best talent that you can have. So you're going to have a much smaller team than your big competitors, big industry giants, much smaller teams. So you need to make sure that everyone in the team is very good, is very passionate, wants to succeed, wants to help your customers, and you want to make sure that they're happy because you want them to stay. So for us at Cyberimpact, it means that you can work from home or you can work from the office. It means that you can have a flexible hours, that is very easy to have. The work and family life balance is very easy at Cyberimpact. It means that we have lunches every week together. It means that we have some outings and fun activities and stuff like that. So there's a sense of belongings, and people stay for very long. Yeah, I think that's it. The people in your company are the biggest asset that you have to compete with industry giants. So that's very important. Oh yeah, and also try to market yourself as an employer and offer to employees and future employees things that other businesses can't. In our case, our offices are still outside of Montreal. We didn't decide to go to Montreal in a tech hub or something like that, because we could have done that for sure. Be more central where everything happens and mingle and all of that. But we decided to stay outside of Montreal in the suburbs, and basically all of the people who work at Cyberimpact live close to their work. So they live in the suburb. So we provide a good opportunity for them to work in their field, in their expertise, but close to home, because otherwise they would have to go to Montreal to work in other, tech companies, and that would mean being stuck in traffic for hours and so on and so on. So find ways that you can appeal to the best local talents and offer them something that they cannot find elsewhere. All right, let's get a little bit more geeky and a little bit more almost philosophical, because I want you to understand what we call the diffusion of innovations. And I'll be very, 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 very honest about the type of discussions and the thoughts that we have at Cyberimpact on that. Okay, so it goes like this. In every industry, you have innovations. Of course, in technology, we see innovations all the time. But in your industry also, if you're not in tech, there's always innovations. It can be simply a new way of doing things, new products, new services, new processes, stuff like that. So at the very left-hand side, on the left-hand side, you'll have innovators, basically people who are disrupting the status quo and are making things happen and are coming up with new ways of doing things. And then you have the early adopters. The early adopters are people who are always looking for novelties, new way of doing things, new features, new innovations, and are going to be the first to adopt something new because it's in their personality. They're looking for that, and they always want to be on top of things. They're probably the people, the experts. They're really the experts. They're the people who are going to write articles about the 2020 trends, what's coming up in your industry, stuff like that. And these people are power users. They always want the best, and they always want the fanciest features and the newest innovations, newest features. I think it's very risky and expensive to try to innovate and serve the innovators and the early adopters. I suggest that you leave it to the big businesses, because like I said before, your big competitors, they probably have an R&D budget that is bigger than the whole of your budget. So that's certainly the case for us at Cyberimpact. So the power user, the marketing guru, the person who is a trendsetter in marketing is not a client for Cyberimpact. It's probably not a client for Cyberimpact, and we don't try to cater to these people because it would be very expensive for us to innovate that way and that quickly, and there's not enough of them. On the other hand, I think there's a lot of money and a lot of stability in marketing and selling right in the middle to the majority, even I would say the late majority. I mean, being in a proven market and providing a strong solution that doesn't have all of the feature that a power user wants. And then you have the laggards. The laggards are very slow to get into it. For us, email marketing has been around for probably 15 years. So business owners or marketing people who are not already doing email marketing are also not our target customers, most likely, because I mean, it will be hard for us to educate them and convince them to start doing email marketing now in 2019. But the early to late majority, right in the middle, this is a very sustainable, very stable segment of the market, and that's what we're going after. As a small business that needs to be profitable and that needs to be growing, but at a sustainable rate. So I hope it's clear. I hope you understand our positioning on that, and I hope that you can maybe apply the same way of thinking, at least in your own business, and try to figure out what that would mean for you. Going after the early adopters or even the innovators, would be what a startup would do. Would be the startup mentality. Versus going in the middle would mean a sustainable business that is growing at a good pace, but that has employees, that have profits, and that is able to pay everything. 90% of startups fail. So like I said, you can win big, but it's very risky to have the startup mentality. I forgot what I wanted to say. I guess it wasn't important. All right. So we do innovate because we don't want to be left behind. We want to provide, a strong and stable and effective solution that is easy to use for our members. But sometimes that also means that we need to innovate and try new things and make our platform better. So it's okay to innovate, but your main focus, that's my opinion, should be on profits and sustainable growth. So for us, the balance between the two is that we allocate 10% of our resources to innovation and 90% of our resources to scaling the profitable business that we already have. So if the 10% fails, it's not a big deal. And if it works, well, it just accelerates our growth a bit more. All right. So 41 minutes into it, I have maybe 5 more minutes max, and then I'm hoping for questions, comments, or things that you want to share. So if you haven't entered anything in the chat box, I encourage you to do it now or in a few minutes. Let me talk to you about a few mistakes that we've made when it comes to positioning, when it comes to growth and things like that, and competing with giants. The first mistake that we've made, and that was before we decided to really narrow down or double down on our focus on Canada, was going after the French market just because we speak the language. That's a mistake that I think a lot of Quebec companies do. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. Most often than not, it doesn't. It's, Europe and France is a different reality. It's a different world out there. And just because we share a language doesn't mean that there's an easy crossover. So yeah, before 2014 or maybe around 2014, we were wondering how we would grow outside of Quebec. And we thought, well, we have a bilingual solution. We have a solution that people can use in French. Why not try the French market? But the thing is that there has to be something in it for your prospects. There has to be a reason for them to choose your solution, and that reason has to be strong. So finding a French solution was not a problem to them in France. That's what we realized. There's already good email marketing solutions that are from France, and that are available in French. So it wasn't like they didn't have any choice. So they already had other options that filled that need, and all of our extra features were not relevant to them. So that really didn't work. So that's why we decided to instead try to grow outside of Quebec in the rest of Canada. And now that really makes sense. So when you try to narrow down, when you try to find your niche or your segment of the market, sometimes you'll get it wrong. It's okay to make some tests. And if you get it wrong and there's not a match between that market and your solution or your product or your service, just go back to the drawing board and try again. That's what we did. Our second try is much more successful than our first try. And also a mistake is running the features race. So it took us time to really understand the diffusion of innovation, the graph, the fancy graph that I just showed you. And also it took time for us to find the balance between innovation and growing our existing business. So running the features race, trying to add features, innovative features to our solution as fast as possible is a race that we'll never win. So that's now how we can get ahead. We get ahead by providing a better solution to a small niche, but not by being, the best solution that has all of the features. Like I said before, many times our competitors have much deeper pockets, so they will beat us to it, every time. Yeah, so another mistake that we've made when it comes to growing and competing is being sidetracked by hype and buzzwords. So we have a mobile app. The problem with the mobile app is that nobody uses it because there's not a real reason to use it. So I don't know what happened in all of those meetings and stuff like that, but I think we really got sidetracked because it's easy to think that because something is in fashion and you hear the hype and you hear the buzzwords and you read the articles that you should have an app or something similar in your industry, it can convince you that that's the next step of your business. But the thing is, if you're in business and you already have customers, talk to these customers. Try to make sure that before you do something, you invest energy on something, make sure that it resonates to your customers and make sure that it adds value to them. The problem with the app is that we never ask our customers if that's something that they wanted. So the app is there, it's cool, it works, but it doesn't really add value to our customers. So therefore, nobody uses it, and it was a waste of time and effort. All right, we have a lot of time left. So I'm here for comments, questions, insults.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's Nicole. Stephanie had a comment for you. She said, we're a tour operator who doesn't sell online, as we feel that we need to talk to our potential clients to ensure the correct fit.
Yep.
With Expedia, G-Travel, etc., all having online bookings, we hope that our personal touch is still relevant.
I think that's a very good comment, and that's one element that differentiates yourself. I think it doesn't mean that you don't do online marketing, even if you don't book online. You can be there when someone searches on Google. You can be there on social media. You can do content marketing. You can do email marketing. All of the things that I talked about. It's just that your call to action, the thing that you want people to do, is not click here to book a vacation, but maybe it's click here to request a free consultation or something like that. So you want people to come, or you want people on the phone, or you want people on a live chat. I would try that. People love live chats. But yeah, it's a cool comment. Although I don't think it's enough of a niche. So you probably have also a specialization. That's the way you do things. But you also probably want to be a specialist. I don't know, maybe for a few destinations, for adventure travels or whatever it is. Try to be the best solution for a portion of the market.
Excellent. So we have a question regarding the idea of creating content. So the questions are really around, not everyone's skilled at creating written content around their business. Do you have any suggestions on where they could look to get more information on how to do this?
Yeah, of course. Yes, I think that's a question that came up yesterday too, yesterday's session. If you're looking for training on content marketing, like introduction and how to do things and templates and best practices, I would direct you to the Content Marketing Institute. So you can just Google that, Content Marketing Institute, and it's a great site. They have articles, but they also have online courses and stuff like that. So there's a lot of information about it online, but if you don't want to be overwhelmed, I would go to the Content Marketing Institute. Then if you don't have time or you don't have the resources, I would really look into if you can afford hiring some help. Maybe an agency that's close to your business, to where you are. even interns, marketing interns, sometimes they're not like super expensive. I'm sorry to talk that way. It should be an investment, but I understand that sometimes, you don't necessarily have the budget to hire someone full-time. So it can be part-time, a freelancer, but it can also be an intern, a marketing intern, someone who's studying marketing. These young people were born with the internet, so they're often really skilled with everything, content marketing and social media and even email marketing. So you can find some gems, with the marketing interns.
So this is a question about Castle from Stephanie. How do you deal with email addresses where a customer unsubscribed but wants to resubscribe again at a later point, i.e. MailChimp does not allow for the email address to be added again?
That's a good question. I know you can ask the person to fill out a form. So let's say you have a form on your website. I think with Cyberimpact, and it's not to, again, to sell our service or whatever, but just take us as an example. I believe you can go inside of your platform and resubscribe someone who unsubscribed. I believe you can do that. But if not, I would tell the person, I would direct the person to maybe a subscription form that's on your website, maybe just a form to get on the newsletter. And if that person fills out the form, even on MailChimp, with MailChimp, I'm pretty sure that MailChimp would allow that person to be resubscribed, because it's them filling out a form again. So I think through a form it works for sure. You can just send the link to a form or something like that.
Okay, and it's funny, we had this question yesterday as well, but you talked a little bit earlier about using the Google platform. How do you measure success when you're doing your campaigns?
That's a good question. Let me show you quickly cyberimpact.com. If you get on our website, what you'll see is a very clear call to action to create a free account. So when people click there, they can subscribe and become a user, and then we have a certain percentage of free users that will convert into paid members or paid users. So whenever I run an ad, let's say on Facebook, or I run an ad on Google, whatever, I will track how many people clicked on the ads, on the ad campaign, and created a free account. So basically the metric that I will have is a cost per free account. And internally we keep track of that, and as long as it's under a certain price, a certain cost per acquisition, then we're okay with it. And if it's too expensive, we try to find out why, and we try to make tests to make it more effective. But basically the KPI, the metric, is how many free accounts we got and how much it costs per free account.
Excellent. Well, that looks like all the questions we have.
All right. Good. Well, thank you so much for your time, guys. Thanks for your questions and your comments. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope it gave you a few ideas of things that you can try out and do in your own situation. Quick shameless plug: if you do want to try out Cyberimpact, you can go to CFIB.ca/Cyberimpact, or you can look for Cyberimpact on the CFIB website. You'll be able to create a free account, but go through the CFIB website. And if ever you become a paid member, you'll have 50% off your subscription forever, as long as you remain a CFIB member. All right, that's it. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.